Hello, those of you who are here from Star Trek. I'm here to inform you. Unfortunately, I have nothing Star Trek to refer to, but this instead.
Do you think that we can see things that are moving away from us faster than the speed of light?
It doesn't sound like we could. If something moves faster than the speed of light, we will never see it via light.
It's a good guess. I mean, that's like what you would intuitively think, yes.
We'll
Meh.
never see that galaxy as it is. We'll only see it for how it was when the light left it.
Okay, you are
Absolutely correct.
right and wrong.
Cool. glad I came.
There are some galaxies that are space is expanding them away from us fast enough that we will never see them as they are now. But there are some galaxies that are outside of our Hubble sphere, so meaning that they're moving away from us faster than the speed of light, but we will be able to see them as they are now. So they're emitting light now, and it will get to us. This is crazy. You look confused.
I'm going to put a stop to all this nonsense and tell you that everything that has ever existed will eventually have its light go into whatever direction, and as long as it doesn't like redshift so much that it will never become into visible range, we're good. The problem is, when will it happen? Will we see it now? Will we see it a million or a billion years from now? Or what? And there's fun facts about this. Because over an exceptional amount of time, the light will just redshift and then we won't even have the correct information about everything that's the furthest away and whatever else. It will be so far away that it will have gone beyond redshift, gone beyond into even deeper amounts of less noticeable noise. But let me just pull you away from that idea and remind you that we're not the center of the universe. Now imagine yourself being somewhere else, somewhere in that distant galaxy, then looking at us, and then looking at the distance that we're able to look at on the opposite side of us. Twice as far as we are from them is how they are able to see. So that galaxy that they're seeing would be perceived with the constant as being twice as fast. But for us, it's seeming to be 1 times as fast. And there's a problem with that. Everything has its own speed and it doesn't matter who's looking at it. So I get a big problem with this whole concept of the Hubble constant. Huge problem with it. Doesn't work.
You should be. You're correct. Okay, the galaxy is
Oh, I
moving
need a
away from us
straw
faster
from
than the
my
speed of light. It emits light at us, and initially that light moves away from us, but it's traveling through space until it gets inside of our Hubble sphere. And
Here's the thing, right? Imagine you have a certain amount of space, and let's say it's a parsec or whatever. And then you have light that is a certain amount of parsecs away. It's still going to move through all of that space at the same rate. Everything else is just moving at the so much per megaparsec, whatever, right? So if it's only moving that much per megaparsec, light moving from anything that's moving away from us will definitely reach us at some point. It's not a matter of when. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. But also, with the space increasing, you gotta wonder, is the light path adjusted along with space and everything physical moving? So there's two answers for this. Obviously, you have to wonder, is light affected by the space stretching? And the answer to that is that objects could be drifting away faster than we understand them, and the light still gets to us. So light years is still the amount of light, everything else, and how much time the light took to get to us. But it doesn't tell us anything about the path that the objects are taking. But if light is affected along with it, then you have to understand light would never get anywhere because it simply is in an area of space, because you cannot centralize all of this and say everything's spreading out and everything. It doesn't work that way. Physics just doesn't work that way. The only way that can work, and I have thought about this, is I told in the comments. Unfortunately, all of this does not work. My assumption is that the constant is the speed of the conveyor belts, and everything is moving at that pace. It's not a multiplier, it's the same speed. So at 1 parsec, it's still 70 kilometers per megaparsec, and then at the next megaparsec, it's still 70 kilometers per megaparsec. It's not a multiplier. So you end up with those things and they stack up, and the stuff is moving away further and further away. But I don't believe space is expanding at all, because that changes everything about how long it took light to get to us. It changes the speed of light through the expanding space. We have to think of, well, in a vacuum, in a closed area, in somewhere nearby, we say that light is moving at the speed of light, but then through expanded space, it's moving through the expanded space. For every section of space, it has to take that extra 70 kilometers per megaparsec more of time instead of just the megaparsec of time, which would be just a 1-to-1 ratio. So the objects are moving further away. And it's a major question, is light along for the ride? So it's experiencing this drag effect. It has to move through an area that is now being more. So it's like, in order to really keep up with it, it has to, like you would think eventually there are parts that she says, oh, let's just listen.
It's no longer moving away from us. Let me draw it. Here's us, and then here's like shells of distance away from us. So imagine like this is the Hubble sphere. So this galaxy.
Imagine if you're not in one of the center parts. What if you're on the second shell? Okay, this is the problem that I have with this entire theory, is that if you look at it and you think of all of that, you can't say per megaparsec. You have to say regions of space have this amount of speed moving away from us, and other regions would have less or more. And then you would be able to find out something about the geometry of the space. But with us as a reference point, you got to realize it's very unlikely physics is working to be that we are somehow still the center. Instead, what's happening is we notice that things at a further distance are moving away the same amount, so everything is all just drifting away, whatever. I had the idea that everything that is because of how long it's taken for everything to move, it could be that it has moved the entire galaxy, and the fastest stuff is moving away the fastest rate. It's the stuff that literally won the race and is still moving away from us. And that everything else that is slower is what's in our range. That's what makes more sense, because it's logical, because there's no reason for it to not be that way. And also you have the Great Attractor, which everything is moving in a path towards that, and that's a tiny fraction in space versus the galaxy and everything in the universe, and it's just ridiculous. My lighter is charged. Nice.
Is moving away from us faster than the speed of light because of the expansion of the universe. It emits light toward us, which initially, because the light was emitted from this object going faster than the speed of light, it's going to be moving away from us. So the light's moving.
Eventually, you would have If you were to believe the Hubble constant and things moving faster and faster the further away they go, then there is, of course, a galaxy with light that, even though it's moving at the speed of light, its space is moving faster than light, so it actually can't accelerate towards us unless it's irrelevant of all space, which is Einstein. He said light literally doesn't care about the thing that it's moving through. It will just move at its speed always. Meaning the expansion of the universe doesn't change the speed of light. It's like moving through a train. It doesn't make any difference. But anyway.
But it's making its way slowly this way, even though this part.
Like literally, if there was a terminal velocity of the space moving faster than the speed of light, that stuff we will never see. It will be dark to us, right? It'll be absolutely nothing, which could explain why the universe is very not lit up. But the other reason why the universe is not lit up is because the general formation of galaxies takes all that stuff, compacts it into a small space, and what's left is voids. So we end up with a lot of universe full of voids. That's the empty space. That makes the most sense. It's logical because that's just how compression of all the gas into a galaxy becomes. It's not possible for it to be any bigger than that galaxy spot is. So we may have had a moment of blinding universe, but that moment lasted for a certain amount of time. Eventually that blinding universe light left and went on to hit every other part of stuff in the universe and was trapped there, and we'll never get it, and we'll never have the blinding universe.
Is moving away from us. It's making its way slowly, and then eventually it's going to get to distances that are, think about it like this. So remember how I talked about how consecutive distances or distances that are further and further away from us are moving faster and faster? So this right here is, say, moving, I don't know, 10. This one's moving 20. So as the light goes this way, now it's going into space that's moving less and less fast away from us. Because the expansion rate of the universe, or the
In other words, light is, because it's going towards us, is able to supposedly accelerate because there isn't something slowing it down as much. Think of it as if it's moving through a fluid that actually affects light. Newsflash, space doesn't affect light because it's very not dense. So it doesn't do any of this stuff.
Hubble parameter is slowing down, which means that the stuff that's now at that first circle is not moving away from us as fast as the stuff that was there. The light does this crazy path where it, like, almost like a boomerang. It's like it goes forward. Ignore this. Light emitted here goes forward away from us and then comes back toward us and eventually gets to us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't make sense, but it's
Yeah, also because it doesn't work that way. But never mind. I need to put my soup into the fridge. It's gonna spoil. I have a sandwich I should be eating. I don't know what to tell you. Universe isn't expanding like that, like she says. It doesn't work that way. So it's like you try and think of it that way. And the thing about it is, everything moving through the universe is moving at the same speed that it was able to achieve when it was originally formed. The only thing that can change its speed once an object motion stays in motion, unless otherwise affected, so unless something can affect it, like the Great Attractor or whatever else, it's not going to be slowed down. So the fastest stuff has had the billions of years to go across the entire visible spectrum of the universe, or I should say 13 billion years. It's had all that time to travel. So the stuff that we've seen from a certain amount of time is from stuff that has already been all the way across the entire galaxy as it has already, or the entire universe as it has moved through space. We're only seeing the light that was from 13 billion years ago. You gotta understand that if it's moving away from us, and we're only seeing the light from 13 billion years ago, and we're not seeing light from, say, 1 billion years ago, from that same object, you gotta wonder why that would be. Well, it's simple, because that light that is from that 13 billion years in its own past, instead of being another 13 billion years away and then finally shone light that will come to us, is because the light has a certain amount of time, and then after that it has already shone on the planet. So the moment of time when we could have seen it any closer is literally it's in the past now. And that light, if we were to go a certain distance away, we could see stuff in the past. Let's say you go 1 billion light years into any direction. Whatever was moving away from us in the opposite direction, we can now see light from 1 billion years in the past. Right? And not only that, 1 billion years in the past in the opposite direction of our travel, but we can also see stuff that used to be taking 1 billion years of time for the light to get to us, right? If the universe was a constant, if it doesn't affect the speed of light, is the main key point, okay? If it doesn't affect the speed of light, then 1 billion years in a direction, light speed, once we get there, approximate that distance, we are now able to see things that it would have been another 1 billion years before we would ever see it on Earth. Now, if the Hubble constant stuff, and if everything's moving away with rates because the space is expanding, which is not important, it's not possible, it's not even like, it's just like, if it were to be that way, you cannot think of light speed as the constant. Light simply, if you move away. Also, there are some other cool things I've seen recently. But if you move away fast enough, again, the light would just never get to us. There are those things that are they are beyond hope. They are in a space where the space is moving so fast. But again, if the constant is considered, and it's just a thing that we consider to be a multiplier when in fact it's not a multiplier, then again, if it is a multiplier based on, or whatever, if the space is actually expanding, what will happen is, oh yeah, I should be playing something other than Hytale. Someone who is closer to us, okay, or someone at the edge of our universe vision, right? They will see everything that we see in the opposite direction as moving twice as fast. So that vision, that whole thing, it's a myth. It's an illusion that happens. Unless you're not talking about a constant that has to do with light signals and everything else and whatever. you have, like, there are ways that you could get through this without having everything just completely break, because it's a nice idea to think of, okay, well, if it's just certain regions of space are expanding at certain regions, you can't say per distance equals so much expansion. Instead, you say this region has this much expansion, the next region has this next amount, and so on, because of all things considered. But there's a couple other things about it, is that you have the there's a serious question and implication of, do we have, is the light affected by the expansion of the universe? Whatever.